So still thinking about moving out to Arkansas, Oklahoma, huh? I want to tell you something about jobs. PTSD is a real thing when it comes to some of them jobs. I've had some jobs that I would consider that just suck. And I'll explain. Arkansas is a right to work state. There's no unions. Most of the jobs that are out here are factory jobs. So if you're moving out here, you're not in the medical field or some kind of construction. If you don't work for yourself, or maybe a welder. But other than that, there's warehouse jobs are very limited. So everything's factory, and it's repetitious all day long. Um, one of the biggest things is there's no, because it's a right to work state. There's the unions. There are some places that have unions, but most of them don't. And even if you have a union, they really don't care. You could walk out, though you're replaced tomorrow, they fire you. It's not like, say, a place in California that's a union state where the people have some kind of say. They don't have that here. Also, the factory jobs out here, almost none of them that even pay decent anyway, none of them will hire you unless you have 2 years of factory experience. So if you come out here and want to get a good job, you need to have a plan unless you have unlimited funds. I'm going to say, man, the last job that I just had, it's a little windy right now. The wind just picked up. Anyways, the job that I just had a couple years ago, Planters Peanuts. I thought, man, that's the coolest job ever. I see them hiring all the time now, actually. But I was like, man, that's something I could do. You know, I love peanuts. So I did have plenty of factory experience because I had worked in a steel mill almost 20 years before that. They consider that industrial factory. So when I did my time at the steel mill, I hung it up and applied over at Planters Peanuts, Fort Smith, Arkansas. And I go in on my orientation day, and right off the bat, they're like, "Oh, we got a big guy," which is the problem every job I've ever had. The big guy, I already know, heavy lifting. I already know. It's just the way it is. I'm 6'6", pushing 300 pounds. So, anyways, they they give me a job. They're going to tell me I'm going to be upstairs, and they call it a bin pusher. So it's a factory, but it's got two levels. The packaging is downstairs, but the upstairs is where they run all the product. Well, they had a bunch of jobs that were, when we got out of our little orientation class, that you could sign up and you can get one of these jobs. They were available to everybody because nobody in the plant had bid on them. And the last day, any new hires could sign up for a job. So I looked at the jobs, and there was one in packaging downstairs, working with the women. I'm like, that's where I'm going. I don't want no heavy lifting. It was also air conditioned, so I signed it. So, anyways, supervisor, his name is Quincy. If I knew his last name, I'd throw it out there. I don't know it. His name was Quincy. Come up, and he said, "Hey, I know you signed that job downstairs, but I don't need you downstairs." I said, "I need you upstairs. We got some bins to push around." Well, you know, being new, I have no idea what he's even talking about. So I said, "Okay, well, you know," he goes, "and since you're on your 90-day probation," because this was my first day, he said, "You know, you really don't have a say in what we do, and after that, you know, then we'll talk to you." I was like, "Okay, but I won the bid because it went down that night, and so I'm supposed to be downstairs in the air conditioning, packaging, and I have no idea what that is either. So that was another nightmare." Anyway, so he goes, "Well, you're going to go upstairs, and you're going to push bins of peanuts around." It's like, okay. So I go upstairs, and these bins, if you could imagine, they're stainless steel because it's food. They're the size of a dumpster, like one of those big metal dumpsters. And they've got 4 legs on them, and they got wheels on the bottom of those. And then they got like a little brace around them, I guess, to support the wheels so the whole thing don't fall over. And this bin is underneath a conveyor. And this conveyor is dumping these peanuts into this bin, and it fills it all the way up. By the time that thing is full, I bet it's every bit of 1,500 pounds. They give you a little lift to push the bin around, but the problem is when those bins get full, some of the peanuts hit the ground. And when they hit the ground, you got peanut oil everywhere. So those machines, the little floor jacks they give you to help push these bins around, They just sit there and spin. So it takes everything you have to push one of these bins around. The bottom of these bins has a little slide out. That's how they unload them. There's holes in the floor. There's holes all over the floor. And you've got to know which bin to put on which hole, because packaging downstairs is waiting on you. So you go to a hole in the floor, you put the bin over it. It has a little catch pan, so big. You pull the bottom out, and these peanuts go down into this chute. I mean, talk about sanitary. That right there kind of like threw me off for a minute for peanuts. I'm like, man, I can't believe everybody's walking around. These peanuts are just whatever. But anyways, they've been doing it for 1930 or whenever that plant opened. So it took everything I had to push one bin around. Well, the problem is they can fill a bin in 5 minutes. And you've got holes all over the place. And you've got several conveyors dumping these peanuts in these bins all over. And so you're no sooner dropping one off and you're running to get the other one because it's about to overflow, hoping you have an empty one to stick back in its place because it doesn't stop. So you can stop the conveyor for about 2, maybe 30 seconds, pull that bin around, shove it in, shove an empty one in there, chalk it up, start the conveyor back up, and make sure you put the slide on the bottom back shut, because if you leave it open, that stuff's going all over the floor. And ask me how I know happened. So that job kicked my butt. The other thing too is you have one roaster that might be running dry roast peanuts. The next one right next to it might be running honey roast peanuts. And then one after that may be running salt-free peanuts. If you were to grab a bin, which you have bins everywhere, and they do have little labels on there, but if you drop one of those bins down the wrong hole, it goes into packaging, you're fired. Because people have allergies, diabetes, you name it. Some people cannot eat honey roasted peanuts. It'll kill them. So they have to eat the unsalted peanuts, or, people have a heart attack, whatever the medical condition is. It's a serious thing. And if you drop the wrong peanuts down the wrong hole, they got to shut everything downstairs, clean all the machines, go find the bags wherever it went. It's a total nightmare for them. I saw a guy do that. He dropped cashew, because they run cashews too. It just depends on the day what they're running. They do change it up every day. But you want to talk about a madhouse. So I have a job downstairs. I will say this job pays $27 an hour or something. I don't know. It's not for living in this area, for Arkansas, Oklahoma. That's pretty good money. You ain't going to find too much more than that. Get my coffee here. It's cooled off a little bit, but anyway, so I keep going downstairs. Like I probably didn't do this for a week. And I mean, one positive out of it, I think I lost 15 pounds like in 2 weeks. I was just done. But pushing these bins around over these holes, dropping it down, shoving it back, getting another one, running to the next machine because they've got these roasters lined up. Everything's got a conveyor dumping into each bin, switching them out. This stuff's going all over the floor, man. It's going everywhere. It's it's chaos. So I go back downstairs and every break, actually, after I was up there for probably a month, in my head, knowing I'm going downstairs to packaging, I'm gonna just stick with it, not say a whole lot. I got past my probation, went down there and talked to the supervisor. I was like, hey man, I've been up there 90 days. I was just help. That's not my job. At this point, my job is downstairs. And he goes, man, I don't have anything I need you for downstairs. I need you upstairs. Well, they have a temporary employee running the line that I'm supposed to run. He's been down there. And I have no idea what my job really is. I really don't. I ask around. That's what I was told. There's a couple temporaries, not just one. There was a couple of them doing my job. So, and that's another thing I'll talk about. I up there 6 months. I go back, talk to the supervisor. Nope, got to keep you upstairs. I don't need you downstairs. I need you upstairs. Well, come to find out, they're starting to break production records because apparently a lot of them guys, they were shutting the lines down because if you don't get the bin over the hole in time, production downstairs is sitting there waiting on you. And there's buzzers going off and yelling. As soon as that hole goes empty, there's a phone on the wall. Everybody's calling you. The lights are going crazy. You're trying to put the bin over there to shut it up as fast as you can. Apparently, they were getting their production goals out of it. He didn't want to move me. And later on, I found out he had his eyes on a logistics career move up in planner, so he was using me to keep his scores. I went down to HR and I was like, look, I said, I've been up there 6 months, and I said, I have a job downstairs. And she goes, yeah, we'll talk to the supervisor, but everything's, up to them. So, there's no union there because Arkansas is a right to work state. So I had no voice, no anything. So I keep thinking in my head, I'm going to get downstairs, I'm going to get away from these bins. But this time, man, it's everything. It took all my energy, everything I had to do it. And then the guys that I'm working with, because there was two of us pushing these bins around, he kept calling off. And I don't blame him. I was trying to hang in there as best I could. It literally kicked my butt. So I want to say, I don't know, I probably put in a good 10 months with a supervisor. His name is Quincy. He got promoted to logistics. And that week that he was getting moved, he went over there and says, okay, I'll put you downstairs in your job. So I'm like, all right, finally. I'm mad at the guy, whatever. So he puts me downstairs in this line that I'm supposed to be working. So now instead of dumping the peanuts, I'm catching them. They give me 3 machines, and each machine is dropping 90 bags a minute. The peanuts come from the top. They go inside this little chute. The packaging is probably about the ones you see hanging on the shelf, the little ones you get at the gas station, the little bitty bags. Well, those bags, you're responsible for the seals on both sides. You're responsible for the machine that pokes the hole so you can hang the bags in the store. You're responsible for the date code that's on there. And you're responsible for the nitrogen that gets shot in there. So as those peanuts fill up in the bag, they shoot them with nitrogen. And I guess it keeps the freshener going, or keeps the peanuts fresh till you get them, generally. So, and when the bag seals, you have to check everything. So you got 3 machines at 90 bags a minute. What could go wrong, right? The seals break, the peanuts are everywhere. It's tedious work. I went from bin pushing all those peanuts around to just absolute chaos. And there's a computer sitting there, and you have to check off everything that you're supposedly checked on those bags every 15 minutes per machine. And if you don't check them, it goes in red, and you have to explain why you didn't check them. But at the same time, you're battling these machines trying to keep them running. The date codes, if they fall off and they get down through QA, you're fired because it has to have the expiration date on there. If they got peanuts going down the line and the seals break, and on your checks, if you didn't check that and it got down to the line, you're at least wrote up or getting time off. The date, there's some things that are more important than others. Some things just automatic termination. And you have to do a metal check as well. So you have a bag, a dummy bag that gets kicked off the line because it has some kind of red barcode on it. You put it on the line and it'll kick it off. And I tell you what, every day that I drove home, I talked to myself driving. Just drive, just the only positive thing I could say is that job paid with the overtime, because that was the other thing. My job was 412s. I worked Sunday through Thursday, but the weekend shift, they worked 312s, and I think they got paid 40 hours for working the weekend shift, but they couldn't keep nobody on the weekends. So my job turned into 612s every day a week. I'm bringing in 80,000 a year or more there, which for the overtime, not by the hour, but because I worked so much overtime. 80, probably 90,000 that year. So be careful what you wish for. I went from bin pushing to that machine that just absolutely ate me alive. I had enough of it. I did 12, 14 months, I think. I left. No notice, no nothing. I just didn't even go back. I was like, the stress alone, when you hate going to your job, you absolutely hate it, loathe it, it's not worth it. So getting back to the temp thing, I want to, now don't quote me for sure, but I think when Bill Clinton was governor of Arkansas and Hillary, I'm not sure what she was doing at the time, but she was an advocate for right to work state, which Arkansas is. So that means that they can hire, they hire a contract service, or I guess they could technically hire their own temporaries. You don't get any benefits. You go in and you do the job for $2 or $3 less an hour, probably half actually. So if the job's paying 25 bucks an hour, they're paying a temporary 15. They work them as long as they want to, and they never have to hire them. And they don't have any benefits. And the only thing is, if you don't have any factory experience, that's probably where you're going to go, is in the temporary pool at a factory somewhere. After you do 2 years, then you're eligible to get hired. Planters didn't hardly hire their temps at all. They had jobs there that were just set aside for their temporary employees, and any full-time jobs the temps really didn't do unless they just absolutely had to have somebody. So they don't really hire their temps. And a lot of temporaries out there hoping to get hired, which they don't even know what they're getting into. And then 4 or 5 years, they're still not hired, making about half what the job should pay. I think it's a bad deal. I don't get it. But anyway, so not that I'm a big union spokesperson, but if you don't have a union, there's no say, like what they just did to me with that peanut factory. So, man, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that one. I want to say, man, probably a worse job than that I had. This is, again, chicken plants, because there's a lot of chicken plants out here, all factory. Now, they'll hire anybody. So the way I was right out of high school, it's been some years back, right out of high school, I looking for a job, needed something, anything, I don't care. I moved out of my mom's house, moved in with my friend. I didn't listen to my parents about, well, my parents weren't big on going to college anyway, but that's some good advice that you could give your kids. And get in the medical field. Don't, man, that manual labor stuff will kill you. Short life. But anyways, so I went to work at a chicken plant. I think I lasted 3 hours. So the way they hired me was, I walked in the door, and you had to have your driver's license and a shot record. So I didn't have a shot record, so I went back home. No, I was going to go back home to get it. She says, "Don't worry about it. We take care of it here. We'll give you your shots." I was like, okay. So there's a room of probably 30 or 40 of us in there. A lot of Asian people, mostly. A few Mexicans, but nobody really spoke that much English. Everybody had their own language going on. The language barrier was rough. She's showing us some videos of jobs that we might be doing, and they didn't look bad. I was like, those jobs look pretty cool. I might do something, might stay here. Young kid, I didn't know any better anyway. So they came in, they give us all shots. They give us a little card saying that we had these kind of shots. I don't even know what they were. And then she's like, "Well, you can start now." I was like, "What?" I was thinking maybe a day or two. No, start now. I was like, "Well, okay." So I go in there, and there's these 2 rows of there's these 2 tables, and they're long. There's probably 20 foot of table on each side. And there's all these women on these tables, and they're sorting this chicken. Everybody's working. And the guy tells me, he goes, "Your job, you control that machine right there." I was like, "Okay." He goes, "What do I do?" He goes, "Well, there's a chair. You sit in the chair, and then when the chicken comes down to the bag to seal it, if it falls through on the ground, hit the button and shut the machine off. That's your job." I was like, I could do that. I'm sitting in a chair, and I'm looking at all these people that are working on these tables, and they're working their tail off. And I'm like, why doesn't anybody want this job? So I'm sitting there. I probably get a good 45 minutes in. Chicken hits the floor. I hit the button, stop the machine. I'm like, yeah, I'm the hero. Everybody at that point gets off the table, turns around, and leaves. Nobody's speaking English. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just sitting there. And I sit there for about 20 minutes. The guy comes up, another guy, a different guy comes up to me. He goes, "What are you doing?" It's like, "Well, I stopped the machine button." Oh, and I was supposed to call the supervisor, which I did. And they had maintenance on the way to fix whatever was wrong with it. He said, "Oh, you got to go upstairs, and you got to, that chicken on the conveyor that comes into that machine, it never stops." He said, "When you hit that button, it kicks over to an off table. You have to go pick this chicken up." These little frozen chicken patties, already cooked, already done, smelled really good. This is frozen chicken that you buy in the bag, the little Tyson bags. He told me, he goes, "You need to go up there and put them in these totes, carry them upstairs, and dump them back up. There's a huge bin on top of this machine." I was like, "What?" So, okay. So I go down there, and there's these totes of chicken about as far as the eye could see. And you've got to put 1, One guy showed me, he was showing me what to do. He puts one crate on this side, one crate on this side. Each crate's about 40 pounds. You run up 2 flights of stairs and you dump the chicken down into the conveyor. Okay, so I stacked them up, went up there, started dumping chicken. After my 5th trip, I could no longer feel my legs. So I looked at the guy, and I mean, it's still going. They're still working on the machine. That stuff is still dumping off. And those guys are sitting there with these shovels. Now they're clean, they're stainless steel, and they're shoveling all this stuff up in there, putting them in these totes for us to carry back up there and dump in there. And I was like, man, I gotta go to the bathroom. I went down and I went straight to my car, left, never even went back, picked up my check, nothing. Just kept going. Man, that's the kind of jobs you're gonna get if there's any decent jobs like that in a chicken plant. You're gonna work for a while. I walked by where they were doing the live hang, where they actually take the chickens and they hang them upside down. No, them guys were all scratched up, cut up. Not doing it. So that was my first job, first experience with a factory. That's one that they don't care about any experience whatsoever. You're going to work probably that day if you want it. That job's always waiting. I quit, and they sent me a letter, and they sent me my check in the mail. It took them about 2 months later or something. I got a check in the mail one day for like $60 or something. It wasn't nothing. But they sent me this check, and there's a letter saying anytime you want to reconsider your employment, you're more than welcome. I was like, yeah, you're never going to see me again. So, yeah, chicken plants. There's some air conditioning factories. I mean, some of them pay pretty decent. You know, I think one of them, I think you can work your way up to almost $30 an hour. But you're driving now. See, I'm driving in rural country. I'm probably driving a good 30, 45 minutes to work too. So that's something that you're going to do. Unless, you know, this is a retirement spot. There was one more job. Now, this wasn't in Arkansas or Oklahoma. Briefly, and I want to say briefly, I moved to Pennsylvania with my first wife, and I honestly can't call her a wife. That was just the biggest mistake of my life, really. Horrible. But that's a whole other story, probably a whole other video, really. Anyways, I don't really consider her my wife. I guess legally on paper she was. But her mom had moved up to Pennsylvania, and we were living in Arkansas, and she had to move up there with her mom. So I said, okay. So I didn't know what I was going to do for work up there. Well, if you ever been around, what is that, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, the whole city is like on top of a mountain chain. Everything, it's set up weird. You just have to see it to explain it. Basically, it's surrounded by mountains, hills everywhere. So I get up there. There's no work that I could find anyway. I saw an ad that said, what did it say? Furniture movers wanted. So I was like, well, I'm young. You know, I had just done that chicken plant. I'd found a job at Walmart, which I left there quick. Anyways, so I really wasn't, didn't have a career in anything yet. So I moved up there, lived with her mama for a while until we got a job and get going on our feet. Well, the first thing I tried was this furniture job. I get up there and I'm in this meeting, and I swear it looks like the mafia. These guys are sitting here, and the guy up front's got a gold cane. He's the boss. Rings on his finger, chains. He gets in here and he goes, hey, I hired all you guys. He said, owner operators. He says, we're going to make a lot of money. He says, we own all the business from the Macy's stores, Kaufman's furniture. We got all these contracts, right? So he looks right at me and he goes, how much experience you got? I said, this is my first day. This guy looks at this other guy, his brother or family member. I don't know who he was. He says, hey, Frankie, I want him overqualified by the end of the week. You got that? Just start talking the gangster Italian. I'm like, what the heck's going on? It's something I ain't never been across. So I thought that was a dead thing. Nope, it's alive and well, man. They're just into different stuff. So that dude, he goes, yeah, he goes, owner operator. So I'm like, man, that sounds good. I don't know what I'm doing, but that sounds pretty good. So They go in there and they tell me, the job requires you driving a box truck. I drove a moving truck. Literally the first time I had ever drove a box truck was from Arkansas to Pennsylvania, like 2 weeks before. So he looks at me, you ever drove a box truck? Yeah, I just drove one, man. But it wasn't 30 foot, but so they show me this box truck's 30 foot. And he tells me, he goes, the lease is $350 a week. And I look at him like, hey, now $10 to my name. I'm living with my mother-in-law. What's this guy saying? He goes, we give you a 3-week grace period, and then when everything gets going good, you do a good job, that truck is yours, $350 a week. $350 a week, huh? So I ask, he walks off, and I ask one of the other guys in there. He says, well, owner operator, he said, the truck is technically leased to you for so many years, and after so many years and you've leased it, they actually give it to you. It's your truck. You're the owner operator. You're going to take care of the cleaning, the fuel, the oil. I was like, yeah, but man, I don't have that kind of money. At $350 a week, I'm 21 years old. And he says, oh, you'll make enough money. Don't worry about it. I was like, okay. So each one of these furniture stops, when you go and you buy your furniture and you pay that $40 delivery fee, I think you get 35 of it, and the company gets $10 or something like that. It's close to that. And then if you show up at somebody's house, you bring their furniture in or their mattresses that they don't want, and you get an extra 10 or 20 bucks. So I guess it's already done before you get there. So I'm like, well, okay. So I start doing the math in my head. I'm thinking, well, I'm going to make quite a bit of money. This sounds pretty good. Well, and then they come back, and apparently you've got to find your own helper. It's not just you, and you've got to hire them. I don't know anybody. I just moved up to Pennsylvania. I know no one. So this guy goes, well, I got my nephew. He's going to be down for the week. He goes, give you a week to find somebody. He goes, and he can help and work with you, and you can pay him something. So I was like, okay. Well, his nephew has no experience either, so don't know what I'm doing. So they give me a stack of tickets. Now, this is the addresses that people have bought. Now, there's several trucks here. Everybody's got these tickets. The amount of furniture that people buy just blew me away. I've never bought nothing new in my life. And these people have got furniture just everywhere. So they give me this stuff. I have my first time out, they give me, it's 25 stops. All right. So I have no idea where I'm going. I don't even know Pennsylvania because I've barely drove through there. They send me these 25 tickets. This is going to be the next day delivery. I'm going to get up at 5 or 6 in the morning. Somebody in the warehouse loads the truck with this furniture that people have ordered. And I'm going to take these tickets, and I'm going to stop at each one of these houses. This is the ticket that I give them, or they sign, and I drop the furniture off. Every time I stop, I get like $35, $40. 24 stops my first time. I'm like, okay. So as this is all getting explained to me, the mafia guy, because I don't know what else to call him, says, hey, need everybody's attention now. He goes, now. He said, when you invoice me, so you got to take, when you drop your furniture off, you keep track of what you did and what you picked up. You're responsible for it. He goes, you're invoicing me. He says, and I'm paying you. Now you put an extra stop down, extra 2 stops down, I'm not going to be so mad. But when I invoice the company and they cut me a check and they find out that you didn't do those 2 stops, we're going to have issues. Ain't that right, Frankie? I was like, holy crap, what am I working for here? I didn't even know to think about that. I don't. So anyways, funniest thing is that night I come home, I've got 24 stacks. You've got to route it yourself where you're going to go, what your first stop is. So, okay. I think, well, I can still manage this. I'm going to figure it out. It sounds like I'm going to make a lot of money. And those guys do, I guess. But anyways, so I go home, and then on the news, they're talking about Youngstown, Ohio, how they had arrested somebody, one of the city officials, and you could look it up. It's on there. Mafia related, that he had, I guess he was taking money for road construction, And then we're doing the road construction, like the potholes that are just horrible through the north, if you know what I'm talking about. And they, anyways, they're taking all this money and pocketing it, not fixing the roads. And so they were sending those guys to jail. And the first time I really realized that mafia stuff is still going around. So anyway, I go home, get these tickets. I route everything okay in my head. This is, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna go here, go here. I had a big map out. I got this. So I show up in the morning, and one of those guys, one of the owners, there was like 6 or 7 of them. I just know the one guy, Frankie, because he kept telling him, and he was like the mule or something. But anyways, he come up to me and he goes, "Here's 10 more tickets." What are you talking about? Yeah, that's the way it is, man. He goes, "You come in," and he says 24 is a light load. He goes, "Here's 10 more." So I'm thinking, I got 34 stops. Now I've got to figure out where these are. One thing that I didn't realize, you got to stay in your own zip code. So when I routed this thing, I was all over the place. Anyways, I thought, we can do it. We can do it. Real quick, I kind of threw everything together. Now, it took me an extra 30 minutes. I'm sitting here trying to figure this out on the map, where to go. Go to this customer's house, go to this customer's house. Okay. So I go to my first stop. Me and this kid. The kid showed up, driving a truck. I have no idea how to drive this box truck, but I'm figuring it out. Thank God it was automatic. At that time, I wasn't real good with the standard. Now it's second nature, but back then it wasn't. Had a Cummins turbo in it. Nice truck. Brand new. And I was like, man, I don't want to wreck this thing. Go to my first stop. People aren't home. No one's home. I've got this mattress in here. I'm supposed to deliver it. I was like, you know what? I just unload it, put it on their porch. I don't know. Not the only thing I was supposed to do that, but I didn't know what else to do. I wasn't going to come back because there's just no way. So, did a few more stops. Everything was going pretty good. Got to about lunchtime. And I'm thinking I'm killing it. By lunchtime, which is probably 11:30, 12 o'clock, and we started at 6 in the morning, I did 7 stops. And then I start doing the math in my head. There's no way I can do 34 stops. I mean, when you stop at a house and you drop something off and you run to the next one, you got to go through traffic. You got to figure out where you're going. You don't, I was totally lost. So I'm pushing as hard as I can to get what I, and the other thing too was when people order stuff, you had to put it where they wanted it, not just unload it in the living room or the front of the porch. You had to set it down where they wanted it. And some of that stuff were entertainment centers that you had to, that weren't something they put together. You had to, it was already put together, and that thing weighed a ton. I mean, I had a lift. I could get it so far to the door, and that was it. And then me and him are carrying that stuff. Solid wood oak, upstairs, second floor. And I'll never forget this one house, this one old lady, man, she was in the wealthy side of town. I think it was in Pittsburgh. And she had this, it was a castle. I'll just call it what it is. 3 stories. And she ordered a king size bed set. We carried everything in, which almost broke my back doing. We got it in there except for the mattress. When we got the mattress in there, we had to fold this thing almost in half to get it through that door. On the way up, we hit her chandelier. This chandelier is rocking. Crystal. Beautiful. And I look at that chandelier, it's about to go. She goes, God, I hope nothing falls off of that. She goes, you know that thing's about $40,000, right? I'm like, oh my God. So thank God nothing happened, but I hit it. And I was, then it put the fear into me, like, you go in these people's houses, you break anything, you're liable too. I don't know, I don't have no insurance. I don't know what the furniture company has. So I think I did, I might have did 19 stops by the end of that night. And by that time, it was 7:30 at night, just done. Couldn't walk. Drove back with a half-loaded truck. Couldn't make my deliveries. I know there had to be people mad. But, the people that weren't home, that was just absolutely crazy. They know you're coming. Anyways, I get home, and that next morning when I wake up, I can't walk, like, at all. My back's gone. My legs are numb. I literally cannot walk. I'm walking like an old man. I couldn't do it. So I called in. I called off. I was like, I can't do it. So, anyways, I never went back. And I did get a check from them in the mail. I can't remember what it was. Wasn't nothing crazy. And the funny thing is, they took $350 out of that check for the rental for that truck for the one day that I worked there. And I think it's, I got a check, that was like $180 or something. And and I had to pay that kid like $80 because he was a friend of a friend. Yeah. So anyway, furniture job, ixnay on that. Anyway, that was a Pennsylvania. Let's get back on a Arkansas, Oklahoma subject. Oh yeah, the one thing that cracks me up, that country song, "We don't smoke marijuana or Mary Jane in Muskogee." Yeah, they're wrong. So dispensaries on about every corner and on all the cities, even the small towns. The medical is okay to use. Here, it's illegal. You literally just have to tell the doctor that you have headaches and that you tried it once and that it works for you. So that's something you're going to smell everywhere now. It's pretty thick. Every store you go into, some people don't care. Some people might like it, actually. In Oklahoma, I think you're allowed to grow 6 plants for medical use. Arkansas, they don't allow you to grow any. Might be 9 plants actually, 3 for C's and 6 for nines. I don't know. I don't smoke. I don't mess with it. I can stand the smell of it, so I don't do it. But that's something you're going to run into here. So anyway, I thought I'd share part of my story of my life with you. There's worse jobs than that too. I know there is. But I did hang out at the steel mill, and that steel mill is no joke. Paid really well. Raising my kids on it. It's still going to this day. Still pumping steel. If you do have the opportunity to do that, I do recommend, if you're going to be a manual labor person like I was, that steel mill. My wife did not have to work, and I was able to put my kids through school. I had plenty of money. Went on cruises all the time. Had a lot of fun. Blew my money a lot. Worked a lot though. You work a lot. There's no joke there. 12-hour days. There's different parts of the mill you could get into. You can get into shipping. It's the colder side, the hot bars. I worked all of it. I preferred shipping just because it's a bar mill. They make solid bars, and those bars get shipped off to like Ford, Chrysler, or whoever machines like their spindles or their cams or whatever comes from that mill. So pretty cool, pretty neat thing. A lot of stuff sent to Germany uh, and Mexico for the transmissions. But and they do have United Defense as well. So when the wars kick up, that steel mill's pumping. I know back in the Gulf War, I couldn't get any time off at all. I worked all the time. $100,000 a year job though, so I do recommend it if you want to make some money. And you're going to be driving if you're living out in the country. You get used to the drive after a while. I was driving 45 minutes to get to the mill. It actually didn't bother me now. Working night shift, coming home was hard, trying to stay awake. I lived 45 minutes away. I drove it every day. After a while, just second nature. I think the car drove itself. I didn't think about it. So anyway, I'll leave this video here. I'm going to keep posting, post something every day. So.